Oh, that's a story for many people, I think. At least the ones who bought my book, Story of a Nei Qi Gong Practitioner, they know about this. And if you haven't done it, not because I wrote it, I'm actually having very good feedbacks. People are actually reading it in one go, which is quite surprising. I don't take it as a personal achievement. I'm just happy that at least didn't waste my time writing it. So if you haven't checked it out, go on my website and you will find it, and then it's available on Amazon and as ebook, audio, book, different formats. I think by now should be in all the platforms, streaming platforms as well. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is actually a story or a few stories together, which have, like all the stories, eventually an outcome, something you understand out of it, which wasn't clear for me in the beginning. And it is actually one of the title of my book called Less is More. And I don't remember the next line below. But basically it's this. When I started to teach Nei Qi Gong, for some reason I was actually quite humble about this. One publisher, US publisher of big, that I'm not going to mention now, US publisher of qigong, who has published a book of worldwide known qigong teachers, who were probably the first ones who were distributed in such format, contacted me, I think at the time, to do a little video course together. And of course I was quite excited, I said, oh wow, I can reach many people in this way. It means that I'm doing my job with professionalism, or at least I'm doing something good that some people are noticing. And, they're asking me to do some work together. So I was happy. But then later on, also talking with my teacher about certain things, we decided not to do it. And that was the first thing. Just bear with me, I'm coming very soon with the conclusion of these 3 stories. The second one happened, I think, last year maybe, or the beginning last year. And I was contacted by a American bestseller, author, writer of a book. Again, I'm not going to mention to respect everybody here. The point that I want to get across goes beyond the judgment of these people or opportunities that came up. The goal is, I want to share it as my conclusion about certain things. So hopefully it could be inspiring, maybe, for some students or fellow practitioners watching these videos on the blog or YouTube. Second opportunity came. This bestseller American author contacted me. He wrote a very successful book. I was surprised many of my students knew it actually. And they wanted to make a book where basically, I don't want to disclose much because you might see the book coming and then basically you understood what I'm talking about. But a book related to energy, let's call it in this way. And amongst the implication of getting involved into this, there was some kind of lab test conducted on us and all these kind of things, which for a practitioner is the less important thing to do. It's not that we are fooling ourselves believing we are developing energy. We also have proof when we are able to make other people experiencing it. But anyway, some point I declined. Okay. And then the last one came at the beginning of this year. Again, no mentioning the names for respecting these nice people who got in touch. From a producer who wanted to make a documentary about qigong, I think, or energy, and I was going to be the main character. not impersonating somebody else. I'm no, what's the name? An actor, just bringing myself in the story as the one connecting the dots, let's say. And this thing was probably going to be on Netflix and other major platforms. So think about the great opportunity in one sense in terms of visibility. But more than that, what I got excited about was the possibility of finally sharing to a big audience the point of view about Nei Qi Gong, which probably some people don't know about because they only read some books that talk about these Nei Qi Gong abilities, but they never maybe talk with somebody who is a practitioner interested in life, human development, and the implication that the energy practice might have on such a person. So I said, oh, that's wonderful, actually. And for a moment, again, I was quite excited about it. And after careful consideration, I said, this thing is going to put me into trouble. First of all, because I don't know if you know, but the Chinese government doesn't really like qigong as we do. They were even persecuted, in particular specific set. I don't know much about it, but I was told by one of my students living in China. And second of all, that my life was going to be transformed completely. So I was going to lose completely my anonymous life, which I don't have to a certain extent because I am on YouTube, I have a website, I have some social medias which I don't use that much. But my simple life was completely probably be transformed without me having any control on it and without any notice. All of the sudden, like an explosion, anybody will open Netflix, see my face, see what we do, which is now quite let's say mainstream. And so I said, hold on a second. The possibility and the idea is great that you want to share your point of view on these practices, but this is not for me. I know it might sound quite strange, especially in nowadays world where everybody is moved by being the biggest one, the richest one, the most powerful one, the one who has more students, whatever, the top one. And actually I learned that being the lowest one is probably the best. If your goal is to try to grow as a human being, you have less problems to deal with, less responsibilities, less people to deal with, less complaints. If even now, I have maybe right now 4,500 people on YouTube. I get once in a while the weird message, the people attacking me maybe for no reasons, people praising me like a god for no reason, which luckily I learned not to take into consideration either of the two. Think about a great exposure. Simplicity is probably one of the greatest values and lifestyle we can develop, which is totally a counter trend considering to where the world is heading, and this unfortunate social media magnifying aspect on good and bad of humanity. But I understood that being nobody is actually the best thing that I can do for me, also for my students, I think, but more for me, because I can have a quiet life, Nobody recognizes me, nobody asks me too many things, I can just disappear in nature if I want at some point, which I will keep doing this teaching, inviting students to come, and being human oriented, one-to-one or small group all together, you know. So if there is a, let's say, message of this personal story that I went through, is that I understood that less is more on many things. And actually this consideration made me reflect also on my previous music career, that I really never wanted to be involved into all the mess that it is out there. I just love making music. Like here, I love practicing qigong and taking care of myself on that aspect. So why I should mess myself up with many things. So if you're interested about the book, I really suggest you to read it. I've been told, I don't claim it myself, that there are valuable things shared in it. A little bit summarize many aspects I went through in my personal journey, not only with the Nei Qi Gong. Some of you know that I started when I was very young, this journey, reading mystical books, trying drugs, plant medicine, Buddhism, various, all the things in between. So I guess if you're somebody generally interested in something honest, raw, sincere, simple, I recommend you to check it out at least. I think you can even stream it on these digital platforms. So have a good day, and I hope that this video was interesting for you.